What's going on, guys? HitPaul's back for another part of this tutorial, and in this part of the tutorial I want to try my best to address some of the problems that we've had with the animations and stuff. I've been doing research on this pretty much all day, trying to figure out what it is that's actually causing the character to dip during the blend. So as you can see here, going to their run from mine. I put this back, by the way, and see how it dips down here. Now this is important. I went and like I said, I've been doing research all day. I watched some tutorials and videos that were from Epic, and unfortunately it happens to them too. And I'm not kidding, it is in the video. The guy, he does the punching montage, character dips down before he starts punching, and the way that they solved it was exactly the way I did. They just blend from the pelvis, so any of that movement doesn't even get put into play. So while it still works in the end, I do not have a full explanation, and I'm sorry, I just don't. But what I want to do is see if I can't fix it anyway, because I mean there's a few things that we actually can do here, and one of them is quite simply trying to walk the animation in until it feels good in the editor, and that's okay. We'll probably end up being what we end up doing. But what we're going to try to also do is import their animations and see what we get. Now I just want to make a note, I've done this already, and what we're going to see is not good. Not good at all. So I did already export their animation called the third person run. I just right clicked the asset, went to asset actions and said export, and brought it right here, and that's it. So I'm going to bring this in, and what I want to do is basically add and update the animation. Okay, everything else is going to stay the same, but I do want to make sure that units is automatic, and it does come in as centimeters, which is my original and what UE4 uses. So we're going to keep everything pretty much the same. I don't care about filling the timeline or anything like that. Optional markers. Okay, so we're going to hit OK, and the character is going to break. And the character breaking like this is not a product of anything that we're doing, because what's actually happening is if I show this animation here, third person run, and I come to the retargeting options here, if I set everything recursively to the skeleton, he moves like all crazy forward, and the root appears to get rotated forward. If I set it to, I think, animation, this is exactly what we see in Max. Okay, notice his hand is pushed into his forearm and it's backwards. If we look in Max, we can see the exact same thing. Okay, obviously the shoulder is crunched down the bone. It's being placed at, I believe, this bone here, which is the upper arm twist, because if I rotate this bone, it actually takes that piece with it. So I believe that that's what's going on there. So they have obviously retargeted him, because as you can see here, this is their assets, everything is original, you know, this is essentially originally what they gave us, and it's messed up. So what they actually did was run the retargeting to fix some of that. Now I think that the root problem here, which, you know, problem's one way of putting it, right? But the issue is that I don't think that this character is the original guy that they used to animate. I believe, this is just a belief, I believe that they did this on the previous template character, and this guy is different in proportions and things like that, enough so that we have to retarget. But in the end, like I said, what's happened is they have they've, you know, taken care of it in this fashion, and then to get everything else to work, we need to do that blend, which is not good. It's not good at all, and the reason is because what if I want to have this run that's more like a jog, but I also want to have a sprint that when he goes one step faster, and the sprint is going to be very difficult for me to animate a sprint from the upper body only, right? I need to change the legs. So in any case where I have to do the whole body's animation are kind of screwed. This problem here is, I'll be honest with you, I'm disappointed in myself for not being able to figure out like a really, you know, fundamentally clean way of getting around it. But it's limiting because now I can't do any animations that affect the lower body. Otherwise, when I blend it, I'm going to end up with this. He's going to sink down before he blends, you know? And like I said, I don't know the root cause of it. I do know that once I imported the animation here in Max, that his root bone is no longer it's no longer like 0, 0, 0, and if I actually zero it out, you'll see that he's like tilted backwards, and then the animation will play like that. So what I'm actually going to do, I'm just going to kind of use what they've got as a guide and try to get that to fix it, because all I need to do, and this is for real, all I need to do is take spine 1 and rotate it to the left so that it lines the gun up. That's it. That's all I need to do. Obviously I'm going to need to do that. If I do that here, what's going to happen is, well, actually his head will turn with it too. And I could do it in code or something just to cheat the thing, but let's try to do it the real way. So let's get his idle, which will be this animation here. If we hit play, you should see, you know, we get some animation. And let's export that guy. So asset actions, export, okay, and I'll just leave it the same name, third person idle, save, okay. I'm going to go back to Max, and what I'm going to do is import third person idle, and I actually want to, I think, just update the animation. Okay, there he is. Alright, so again, same problems. We can see the toes are out of proportion, we can see the hand over here is out of proportion, and we can see that the shoulder up here is out of proportion as well. And so, you know, like I said, there's something fundamentally going on here that I don't know about yet, but I do know that I can actually figure out how far this is turned to the left, right? So if I look, you can see if I go in this direction here, which I'm changing the Z, look down here, you can see I'm changing the Z. So I'm going to undo that and I'm going to look. So it's 33.123 degrees off. So I need to counter it by 33 degrees. So I'm actually going to right click my taskbar and I'm going to hit this again, and that will open me a new copy of Max. And I actually like to work this way whenever I'm doing this kind of thing where I need to try to figure out what's going on between two systems of animations. I'll actually open two Maxes and I'll just split the window. If things are in the way, we can crush that down to just one column here. So now we got the second Max open, and I just want to get this so I can see them both like so. Okay, and on this one I'm going to open up him rifle idle. Okay, and what I need to do is take this bone and rotate it 33 degrees to the right. But if you remember, I turned off the inherit of the rotation on the head. So if I turn his body, the head is not going to go with it, and that's actually going to cause an issue because we need to kind of orient the entire thing. So the other thing that happens is when I turn the body, the whole upper body ain't going with it, and that is another issue that we need to solve. And the first one's easy. We just take the head here, go to IK, link info, and we're going to re-inherit the rotation. You can actually turn this off and on at will, and it won't affect, like, it's not going to turn his head back to straight because it now inherits. Now it turns it off and on based on where it currently is when you do it. So if you actually had an animation where the body was a little bit turned to the side and you were at frame 70 and then reset that, it would stay there, and then when you played the animation back, it would take that, it would rotate with the body. Hopefully that makes sense. The other thing is now we need to try and get these guys and these guys, because we need everything here. Hopefully I can get him somewhere about there we go. And what we want to do is animation constraints, link constraint. You can see I've given it a hotkey, Control-Shift-L, and I've also given orientation Control-Shift-O. So we're going to link constrain those to this bone. Okay, now what's happened, actually, sorry, I don't want this hand because this hand's already link constrained. Okay, so that's why that one moved. So I'll just use my hotkey, Control-Shift-L here. Again, it's my own personal hotkey. And now he's exactly, nothing's really changed. Okay, if I undo or redo, no difference. And now I should be able to rotate this and have his whole upper body spin around just fine like that. Okay, head, all the arms, everything goes with it, including the elbow controllers, all that stuff. So once we've linked that, now all I need to do is just turn this 33 degrees to the left, which I know, it's not cool to have to do this, but we're going to do it anyway. Okay, grab one bone, just keep tapping page up, control page down, export selected, and this is going to be rifle idle. Yes. Okay, we'll go back to the editor. And remember, if you look at the box that's in front of him, that's clearly how the direction that he's facing. Again, you can also look at the arrow, and you can see the delta between these two here is pretty off. Let's see what happens when we bring this guy back in. Idle, rifle, idle. Let's re-import that. Did that turn him more, or did that do nothing? He is turned. Am I blending from spine 1? I should be. He looks fine here. He looks like he's looking straight here. I don't think it's updated. Yeah, I mean, he's much straighter now than he was before. Let's show collision. Yeah. Yeah, no, he is. It did change. I mean, I think I went a little bit too far. I went a little bit too far by maybe 5 degrees. So let's bring it back about 5 degrees or so. And do the same thing. Wait. I rotated everything. That was not good. Do not do that. Just want this guy. Again, I'm doing this in view because I'm trying to do this by kind of like world. So back about 5 or so degrees. It's really hard to get that in there. Actually, if I move my mouse away, I can have more precision. So I'm going negative 5 degrees or so. There we go. Okay, again, grab a bone, keep hitting page up, control page down, export, rifle idle. Yes. Okay. Let's take a look at him and see if anything changes. Re-import. Doesn't look like it changes here until I hit play. That's thunder. Yeah, see, there we go. So now you can see as I stand, my gun is now pointing forward. Okay, and if I look straight, it's close enough. I mean, it's a degree off now. It could come to the right, maybe another 2 degrees or 1 degree or so. Other than that, it's fine. So now he points straight. So again, this is a hacky thing, and I really kind of hesitated putting out this video. I really did, because this one is kind of tough. You know, there's two fundamental things that we have to deal with. Number one, we're trying to fit our stuff into an animation system made by a whole team of people that have their methodology, which probably, and in this case doesn't, line up with our own ideology of how this stuff should go. So their practices and things like that are being, you know, they're in here, and we kind of need to take that into account, you know. The other thing, the other animation that I didn't like was when you run. I need to go back and fix his animation blend here because I changed it out of experiments. Okay, so that's run. Again, you got to remember that we're blending from the hip, so this isn't happening. But I just need to put my, I think this one in there. Run new test. No, that's theirs. I just re-exported it. It's run rifle, which is in here somewhere as an animation. Damn it. Where is it? Rifle walk? We'll just use rifle walk. Notice it's turned between them because I turned that bone. Okay, so these two animations are the same, but remember we're just blending, and I don't actually have a run animation. I'm just using my walk animation for my run animation. Hopefully that doesn't confuse anybody. So we'll just save that stuff there, and then we hit play, and yeah, so now he runs correctly. And the only thing I don't like now is that while he's running, he's tilted down 5 or so degrees. So I want the gun to be tilted up about 5 degrees, and that's all I'm going to fix. So I don't really need this file anymore. Let's do the UE4 guy rifle walk. We'll save that. And really, like I said, all I need to do is just tilt that up about 5 degrees, maybe a little bit more. Now I know here it's looking like he's pointing up, but remember the pelvis gets tilted forward as he runs, and that will bring the gun back down. So again, because we're dealing with somebody else's systems, we have to fit it in like this. Well, obviously we don't have to, but we're going to. So rifle walk. Yes. Okay, okay. We come back to the editor, rifle walk. Let's re-import that, and now let's try to run. It's up a little bit. Let's go another 5 degrees or so. Might be a little too high now, but that's actually preferable to it not doing anything. At least we know it's working. So rifle walk. Yes. Okay. And we come back, and we can do that again. Re-import. Play. It's straighter. It's better. Could use a few more degrees, I suppose. But now our animations actually don't feel too bad. Obviously, we don't have a jump animation or anything. But he's pointing the gun straight, and he is holding it straight at the point that he's looking. Okay. So we compensated for what's happening in the pelvis with our animations. Okay. And you know, like I think if I blend from spine 2, it's going to change him drastically again. But again, if we show the collision, by the way, anything you type here, Bart, the next time you do this, you can just press the up arrow and it'll bring it up. Okay, and you can cycle through everything that you've done up and down here. So that's why it seems like I'm not pasting, I'm just hitting the up arrow. And that's old school, like DOS stuff. But if we do show the collision, which is kind of hard to see, you can see that the box there is going to be oriented exactly where he is. Okay, left, right, up and down. It's hard to see in movement because of the motion blur, but it looks pretty lined up to me now. So I think we're good in terms of that. And, well, actually, we have to fix our firing animation. So let's do that. Okay. So I'm going to full screen this guy. Just click off and then hit Z so that I can zoom in on the whole scene. I'm going to go ahead and save it, and then I'm going to UE4 guy rifle fire, and then we need to do the same thing. I kind of wish I knew exactly how much I turned it because I didn't really pay attention, but I just need to take these 3 elements and zoom in here, Control-Shift-L for my link constraint hotkey, and click right there, and that shouldn't break anything. And I do want the head to retrieve parent's rotation data, and then now I should be okay to do this. And just take a wide look at it, and just look for anything that gets left behind when you do this kind of rotation. It's important. Okay, and all I'm going to do is the same thing. because I think I did about 5 and 5, so I'm just going to do 10. And then page up, control page down. If you want to skip this step, which I don't really care because it's quick, if you want to do that, you can always create a new selection set right here, and we'll just call this export bones. Okay, and then we have 68 objects. Every time we can just drop this down and click that. Okay, so that's going to be fire. The weapon does not need to change. And I need to do this quick because somebody's going to walk in the door and the dogs are going to go crazy, so let's re-import. Oops. Re-import. Play. We may have to adjust it a little bit. Did that happen in here? Yes, it did. Okay, so what we need to do is take these guys now and go to the motion tab. Actually, I think we need to do them individually and delete that link. We used it to move it, but we don't want it to inherit the animation, so we delete that link. Hopefully that fixes it. Yeah, there we go. So because they were still linked, so we just export that. Fire, yes, okay. Re-import, which I always lose. Now we can play. And he turns a little bit. I need him to come a little bit more to his left, but essentially problem solved. And like I said, this is the bad way of doing it. We do need to kind of walk it in, and which could be a, kind of a miserable pain in the ass if you're doing get tasked with doing a bunch of animations or something. It's going to be kind of a little frustrating, but keep in mind that, remember, it's going to be relatively rare that you are dealing with somebody's original stuff that is this disjointed, and by disjointed I just mean they used a different mesh to animate it. There might be motion capture involved, which can really create some very stringy data, very messy data. And in your case, you're probably going to have your own character, right, and your own animation systems, so you just keep adding to that guy, Unfortunately, it wasn't very easy for us to get their guy into max in clean state, but, it did actually work for us here. So we had to angle it up for the run. We had to turn him to the left. Cause essentially we just need to compensate that root bone, that pelvis bone. So that's it. Hopefully, I know I apologize if this didn't really help, because I don't like this solution at all. Walking things in like that, especially because I'm only doing like 2 or 3 animations. Like, what if you had 200 or 300? That's bad news. So if I come across any better answers to this whole thing, I will make a video and I will update where we're at. But as it stands right now, this is what we have to do. So this is HitPaw signing off, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. And the next one, I think we are actually going to go ahead and do projectile firing, and may or may not at the end of this series end it with how to swap to like a pistol and have the animation swap and all that stuff. I think that'd be pretty handy for everybody, because it can be kind of complex. Not really, but essentially what we're going to do is just create a new animation blueprint that does exactly the same thing. We're just going to replace everything with pistol animations, and then when it comes time to swap, we're going to swap the anim instance and we're done. So anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.